Okay, let's have a quick check-in. Um, who's been clean for at least a month? At least a month.
At least a month.
Okay, 2 months? At least 2 months? Okay, at least 3 months? Okay, longer than 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Who's been sober less than a month? Okay. Who misses it?
Who misses what? Getting high?
Yeah.
I mean, some of them, yeah. The effect, I mean, I drink a lot.
Okay.
Like we did.
Yeah.
But the problems that come with it overweigh.
Yeah. Okay.
I miss it getting high. I don't miss the problems that came with it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think if you ask any late stage alcoholic or drug addict, I've been clean almost 28 years, and sober almost 28 years, and there are days I still miss it. Right. So who do you have to talk to about it when you miss it? Who else? What if they're not available?
Whoever you love, so who loves you?
What's that?
Whoever loves you and cares about you.
Okay.
Most definitely someone that understands.
Someone that understands. Okay. If you've never had a baby, do you know what it is to have a baby? Okay. I've had a son. I've cut the cord. I didn't push that baby out. Okay. It's a whole. If you've had a baby, have you had a baby? Okay. So like, no man should ever talk to a woman about having had a baby, about what it's like, because we participate. We are not as involved or committed, right? Okay. So it's really important in early recovery to have people in your life that get it, that understand, that are not going to use it as ammunition against you. You know, a lot of people say, my family's supportive, they care, they do whatever, okay? But if they're having a bad day and you walk up and say, I'm just getting high today, how are they going to, like, what did you just give them? Yeah, you give them a bat, right, to hit you over the head with. If they're having a bad day, and they'll be like, so that's why my sponsor in AA, one of the first things he said to me was like, what's your concept of a higher power right now? And I said, you, Bill, you're my higher power. And he said, hey, one person can't be your higher power. What if I get drunk today? I said, you've been clean 35 years, man. Are you telling me you're going to get drunk? And he says, I don't know. He says, I'm hoping I don't. Yeah, but he says, if I do, is that your reason to go out and get high or drunk? And so he's the first person that ever told me, the first question he ever asked me is that when your addiction talks to you, do you thank it for showing up? Yeah, and I said, hell no. Because I'm facing 20 years and I have cancer. The doctor told me I'm going to die if I get high, right? Like, I miss it. And he says, but at some point it was brilliant, right? It did something for us. So all the things that we used to use it for, we have to find new ways of getting those needs met today, okay? And one of the things that we used it for was avoiding conflict. Like getting high a lot of times is a way of not dealing with conflict, right? Not dealing with issues and problems, okay? What's that? Coping, yeah. And problem solving. But also it was a way of not having to deal with people, you know, like they say late stage addiction is a disease of isolation, right? We start pulling away more from people. Really late stage addicts a lot of times don't want to hang around people and they protect their stash, right? That's when you know you're a late stage addict, when you don't share your stash anymore, okay? Like early stage, you kind of like, hey, let's party. I got some weed, you got some dope, you got some, let's drink, you know? Late stage, we like, well, I'll use some of yours, but don't touch my stash, okay? And so we all got stashes. So one of the challenges in early recovery is that one of the things that we used to use it for, tonight we're talking about communication, okay? And, oh, you just told me your name. Yeah, Dave, right? Yeah, Dave just told me we skipped one lecture on balance, and we're going to go back next week and we're going to cover that one. But we're going to talk about communication today. Okay, hey, here we go. All right. And the first thing that we need to know is that like people who make long-term changes in any area of their life when they choose to make a change, they have two things in common. The first thing they have in common is that they all decide they're going to do it for themselves and not for anybody else. Because if you get clean for somebody else, why doesn't that work?
They're gonna leave you. They might let you down. They might. You know, you can't
Yeah.
depend on them.
But even if they're supportive, There's going to come a day that whatever you used to use alcohol and drugs for, when it's not there anymore, or you're just missing it, that if you're only staying clean for somebody else, you're going to like, if it's only for the judge or for someone that you're in a relationship with or somebody else or your kid or whatever, someday you're going to, when that hits you and you're really missing it, you're going to look at that person and like if I'm only staying clean for Barry, I'm going to go, Barry, you if it weren't for you, I could be getting high right now. Okay? And they say in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the number one reason people go back to drinking and using is what? Resentments, right? It's the I'll show you. I drank at a lot of people. Okay? I drank and used at a lot of people out of resentment. Okay? Because addiction just needs an excuse. It needs a reason. And, you know, the big book of AA says that addiction is what? Cunning, baffling, and what? Powerful. It all, you know, I don't think they left out two words, and patient. Okay? I think there's only two words missing from the big book. And patient. You know, because I've been clean 28 years, my addiction still talks to me. Okay? And if I'm only staying clean for somebody else and not for me primarily, the day that it talks to me, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get really much madder. But if I'm doing it for me, I can go, okay, I miss it. And then I can talk to somebody about it, right? But the earlier you are, the second thing that people change is that they all improve their communication skills. They learn how to ask for what they need. They learn how to talk about what they're feeling. They learn how to ask for what they need, and they learn how to set boundaries with other people. Because here's one thing that happens. When you get sober, okay, the people in your life have three choices, right? They can look at themselves and grow with you. Go to, you know, it's amazing how many people that are addicts that when I'll ask their family, I say, well, what are you doing for your recovery? And they go, waiting for him to get better. And I go, but what are you doing for your recovery? I'm waiting for him. And I go, why are you, like, you're a hypocrite. And they get really mad at me. And they say, a hypocrite. And I said, yeah, you're asking them to do something you're not willing to do. You want them to go to 12-step program and get a 12-step sponsor and work their 12 steps and change everything in their life, okay? But you become addicted to the addict. They're your higher power now. You've made your addict in your life the higher power. If you would just get better, I could be happy. I said, that is not their job. And they get mad. I mean, I've had women throw books at me in my office. Okay, you know, I had a woman turn that desk over one time.
I don't get that concept. If you fucked up, you fucked up.
But if they stayed with you after you keep breaking promises,
They stupid.
they're, well, you know, I'll say intelligence has nothing to,
I can't,
yeah.
I guess you're gonna have to break it down to me like
Okay, because intelligence has nothing to do with it. Yeah.
the correlation between if I love my brother and he's a dopehead, okay, I get to a point where I'm not gonna give him no money, but I'm not gonna stop loving him. But
Right.
I'm not gonna go to AA or CA because he got to go.
Yeah, but
I'm not breaking the law.
But if you can't stop enabling him, if you know your boundaries, that's great. Okay, where I'm not going to enable you, I'm not going to whatever. But people who are in like primary relationships sometimes, like parents, have a hard time letting go of kids sometimes. And you know, like I had a guy once that was 37 years old, and his mom had spent over $450,000 bailing his ass out of jail, and problems. Okay, that ain't special. Let me tell you, that's more common than you think. Okay, love relationships. People get married. My mom's an incredibly intelligent person. She had two PhDs. My dad has 3. Right. My dad's a late stage drunk. My mom could not let go of him because she made all these vows. Right. See, the problem is that feelings usually trump logic. Feelings and emotions a lot of times can trump logic and intellect. Okay, and my mom said, you know what, they keep telling me it's a disease. And I said, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, my parents, you know, they knew we were getting high, or drinking or whatever, or even drink and drive, or, you know, be high and drive. And if I asked them for money, you know, they would say no. They knew what I wanted it for.
Yeah.
And even if I made up some excuse, I needed it for cigarettes, or I needed it for
See, that's a parent. That's a person who has their own boundaries, right?
Knew that I was making up some bullshit excuse, and they would still give it to me anyways, knowing I'm gonna spend it on drugs, but wanting to believe that
Yeah.
bullshit excuse.
Yeah.
Give this to you. I know what it's really for, but you go ahead, you stick to your
Right.
side.
And also, I tell parents too sometimes if they're not willing to do that, it's selfish. Because that's about them not feeling their pain. If I do this, maybe I don't have to feel my own feelings. I don't have to worry about you as much. I can maintain an illusion of control. Okay?
Don't get the concept where the other person got to go to therapy because the other person messed up. I still don't get it.
Because if you continue to participate in a relationship where people are breaking agreements with you, for whatever reason, that's your issue.
What I'm saying is, some bonds not meant to be broken. Like I said, my brother, my son, a close cousin, a nephew. If I see them and they messed up, if they sitting there and they need a fix, I'm gonna give them a fix, but I'm not gonna support them. I'll give you some money. Look, go get yourself together. That's not gonna make me have to go to Al-Anon or and go to the meeting.
Well, that's different. If you can do that, that's great. Not everybody can. Like some people can drink,
I'm just making sure
right?
I'm not saying that
Right.
because
Some people can
I
drink.
messed up,
They don't need to go to AA.
Since I go to 12-step meetings, whoever I deal with need to go to 12-step meetings also. I mean, like I said, I'm not.
It depends. It depends on if they can hold on to themselves and the relationship and not enable addictive behavior. You know, it took my mom till I was 21 when she finally started going to Al-Anon. And I remember the first time she cut me off at 21. And she said, no more money. And I said, you bitch. What? You're rich. And I said, no, I said, we're rich. She goes, no, I'm rich. You're broke. Okay? But up until that point, she kept giving me money because she thought if she did that, you know, like I would eventually get myself together, that I wouldn't live on the streets, that I wouldn't want whatever. She didn't want to feel the pain of seeing me suffer. She was unable to do that by herself. Some people are. Other people can. Other people can just say, you know what, I'll always love you, but I'm not going to enable you.
Now, what kind of money does a rich drug addict get from his mother when she's hoping he's going to get himself together? What kind of money would you go ask for?
About $5,000 every time. And she go, okay,
How much?
5,000 minimum. Minimum, right? And then I'd be back like 3 weeks later, right? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wild, because I have a cousin that he still is, a real bad alcoholic. Very intelligent musician, went to school over in Europe, can play just about any instrument there is, but he got addicted to alcohol really over in Europe from all the wines and stuff they have, but he was going to school over there and everything, and my uncle was very wealthy. This guy had a $50,000 limit on his Visa card or whatever it was, and he would max his credit cards out, and he would call, and this would tee my dad off. This is how I know this, because my dad would be like, I mean, because his sister was married to my
Yeah.
uncle, so my dad would,